I actually met Arlo. I actually met Arlo. I actually met Arlo. Right now it's easy to wrap my mind around it since it's been like 5 days since Retropalooza, but before Retropalooza, I was having a hard time wrapping my mind around the fact that I was about to see him. But when I actually got to see him, woo. So before I get into any details, I guess I should tell you the whole story or something. Man, I'm getting just anxious just thinking about the times I was anxious leading up to Retropalooza. It's kind of weird. Anyways, so before Retropalooza even happened, I emailed Arlo saying, hey, I should do an interview with you. You want to do that at your hotel or something? Because, like, if we did it at the con, it would probably be a mess. Then he replies, yes, let's do an interview. But I have limited myself to meeting fans only at the convention, so that means the interview had to be at the convention. Which I guess, okay, that's fine. That's fine, I guess. And I'll continue on that interview story later. So the night before Retropalooza, I couldn't sleep, of course. I stayed up till like 3, just making sure everything was ready. I had everything I needed. Then the next morning happens. I wake up, get everything I need, pick up my friend Emma, and then we head off to the convention. We made it to the convention a couple minutes before the doors opened, and man, the line was long. Like, there was a big hallway. You're just like... Here's what the convention looked like. So this is the front door, and the line went all the way back here. So as I'm walking all these people, I'm thinking to myself, are any of these people going to recognize me? Because there's quite a few people here to see Arlo, and any of these Arlo fans might recognize me. So I'm thinking this the whole time, the whole entire convention, is anybody going to recognize me? So I walk past everyone, so far no one's recognized me. I'm thinking that's fine, not everyone's probably here yet, that's fine. So once I do make it into the door, I immediately start looking for Arlo, of course. So I haven't seen the back of this pamphlet yet. I haven't seen with the map of the layout. So I have no idea where Arlo is. And so I'm going along, like, where the heck is he? He's right over here, but I don't know that yet. So I'm going, where is he? Where is he? And then my friend's like, hey, stop running. And I'm like, okay, I'll try to slow down. But I'm like real anxious to see him. So I'm trying to find him. And then right about here, I see a hint of that blue fur. And then I just bolt. I just go straight for him. I'm completely ditching my friend. And then it happened. Me and Arlo locked eyes together. We saw each other. A truly blessed moment. Man, my mind was just so high on excitement just seeing him. Like, it was hard, it was really hard to wrap my mind around the fact that Arlo, this blue guy, was like right in front of me. Every once in a while I wouldn't think about it much, and then I think about it like, Arlo's right in front of me. Huh. This face that I've been looking through a screen for almost 3 years is right in front of me. So I talked to him for a bit, and then his panel is about to start. And then he asks me, hey, since I kind of know you, can you do me a favor? I'm like, yeah, sure. And he hands me his water bottle and asks me to refill it. He's like, oh man, already doing favors for the Arlo. I got you, fam. I got you. So I go over to wherever the water fountain was, and I refill it and try to go back to his table, and Arlo's not there anymore. Welp. So apparently he went to his panel. Oh, I should mention before I talk about the panel story, when Arlo was there, the only other YouTuber that was there was Chadtronic. Like, Arlo was like, I legitimately think everyone had a breakfast party without me.
Alright, I'm at Retropalooza. This is where we are. And, it's like me and Chadtronic are like the only ones here. It's like 1 minute away from opening the doors, and literally none of the other YouTubers are here. Wow. Guess YouTubers like to sleep in, huh? Especially AVGN, huh? Where's he at? Where you at, AVGN?
It was pretty interesting that, like, only him and Chadtronic was there. It was pretty Weird. So Arlo, I hand Arlo to sign my GameCube, and he has this silver Sharpie, and then it like doesn't work. It's like, well, that was the one Sharpie that I brought. So I go over to Chadtronic, and he's got just this buttload of silver Sharpies, and he loans one to Arlo. And I was able to get his signature right there. And Chadtronics, of course. Alright, back to the panel story. So I have his water bottle, and he's already at the table with the microphone. So I have to like walk up the two stairs and like hand him the drink, so I was like a little bit a part of the scene or whatever. Then I was like, everybody give Ben a hand for handing me my water bottle or something like that. I got a little bit of applause, but there was quite a lot of people there, actually. I was pretty impressed by like, because before the panel started, I only saw a few of his fans that showed up to his table, but like once I walked into the panel room, there was just a bunch of people, and I'm thinking again, are any of these people gonna recognize me? But none of them did. I think the thing is I think they do know who I am, but they don't know that they know who I am. You know what I mean? Because my most popular Arlo videos are my best of Arlo videos, and they don't really have my face in them because it's all about Arlo, not me. Or maybe they've seen my comments in Arlo's videos but didn't know that it was me. Anyways, the Arlo panel was so cool. Really great hearing him answer all these questions. A lot of them I already knew the answer to, but there was a few that I didn't know about, and I can't really share that information. I actually did record the panel, but I can't really give it out. Top secret content. But I will say, if you DM me on Twitter and you reach the requirements, I will give you the link to the unlisted video of the Arlo panel. I'm not just giving this willy-nilly. You have to reach the requirements, and I'll let you know what the requirements are in the direct message. Here's my Twitter tag, so direct message me right here. So after the panel was over, he went back to his booth, and like as we were walking down the hallway, I was kind of like right next to him. So I'm just walking, and he's like, Arlo's right next to me. Alright. Arlo's right next to me. So we go back to his table, and I think most of the YouTubers have arrived at that point. So a little while later, the Boogie panel started, and I decided to watch that since my other friend who also came wanted to see it. He's a big fan of Boogie, so I was like, yeah, I'll come, because I'm not subscribed to Boogie, but I do highly respect him. And man, that panel was just I think the whole room was packed. In Boogie's video, you can actually see me for like a couple frames. Yeah, it was really cool meeting him. I like, my respect points for him went a lot higher after meeting him in person. After the Boogie panel was over, I ended up getting his signature right there. It was pretty funny. When Boogie got to his table, he was like, I need a Sharpie. And then immediately one of the staff members grabbed her walkie-talkie and said, we need a Sharpie ASAP? Something like that. It was like some protect the president high security, we need a Sharpie immediately, as soon as possible. It was pretty funny. After Boogie's signature, I ended up getting Ganjin Goomba's signature. He wrote it in Japanese. And I got Gerard the Completionist's signature. Then later on in the day, I got James Rolfe's signature, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Here's his right there. I also got a picture with all of them, so here's the pictures. There, good? Got him? Good. And then the next panel I got to see was Gerard the Completionist panel. And the way that happened was like, Arlo was like, okay, you ready to do that interview? I was like, yeah, sure. And I wasn't ready. I did not have enough questions because like, I didn't have any of my questions written down. I really should have, but I was not ready for an interview yet. So, we're trying to look for a place to do the interview, and then he sees that Gerard the Completionist's panel was about to happen. He's like, oh, I need to see that. And I was like, okay, we can do the interview tomorrow. We got plenty of time. Because I really needed more time to prepare for the interview. So we go in the panel room, and I ended up sitting right next to Arlo. That was pretty cool. And then later on, the day comes to a close. There was a game show panel that I did not get to attend to because I got a ride that showed up at 5, and the game show happened after 5, and I thought everything was going to end at 5, but I guess not. So that night, I stayed up until 4, making sure I had everything ready, because like Arlo retweeted my tweet about him interviewing him and me needing questions for him. So a lot of it, I was able to screenshot a bunch of tweets to me telling me what to ask him. And I wrote down a couple of my own questions, which was funny. As soon as I got to the point where I needed to write my own questions, like, I've been thinking about what to ask him in an interview for a year or something now. I have completely forgotten all of them. But I ended up writing about like 10 questions for him. So that next morning, I slept 20 minutes past my alarm, so I left a little bit late. So I go back to the convention and meet up back with Arlo, and he's like, hey, we need to start this interview probably as soon as possible. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking the same. So we actually go to one of the panel rooms because no one's in it yet, because the day just started and no one's really using it. And I'm trying to set up and everything, and there's some technical difficulties, so it was this delay. Like, okay, we can't really use this microphone, we'll just use the microphones built into the cameras. And then I only got like 7 minutes of footage, and then we were kicked out because there was a panel about to start. And then we didn't continue the rest of the interview until later in the day, which was fine. But when we did continue that interview, it was a little bit less quality because we were doing it in the convention room and it was really loud. So it was really too bad that the interview didn't become what I wanted it to be. But still, if I think about it, I got an interview with Arlo, and that is so cool, and I'm very thankful for Arlo giving me the time. And what was really interesting, it was like, Arlo was like, okay, we really gotta speed this up. I want to get back to meeting my fans. And like, at first it was like, okay, ouch. I see you want to get away from me as soon as possible. It wasn't really like that. I'm just over exaggerating. But it really shows that he really cares about his fans. He doesn't exactly pick favorites. Not exactly. And like, I know I've built a bit of an ego being his #1 fan. And I sometimes accidentally view myself as entitled. But that's obviously not the case. And the fact that Arlo wanted so badly to equally have as much time with the rest of his fans, I really did appreciate that, actually. Because he really does love his fans. He wanted to make sure he was able to have as much time with as many fans as possible. So most of that day I kind of just chilled at Arlo's table, and there wasn't really a panel until like the very end of the day, which ended up being 2 hours, and it was the all-guest panel, and that was so cool to watch. It had so many people that you wouldn't expect to see together. James from the Cinemassacre wasn't there because he left early, and Gerard and Andre showed up late, like real late, but besides that, literally almost everyone was there. It was nuts. I really enjoyed Ganjan Goomba in that panel. He had some interesting things to say, and he's one of those YouTubers where I'm not subscribed to him, but I really respect him. It was so nice listening to his voice, because I'm not that familiar with his face, but I am very familiar with his voice. It was really funny when Boogie would try to interact with Arlo with very inappropriate comments, and Arlo was like, no, I am not involved.
All right, now tell me if this is too graphic. Stop me at any time. But me and Arlo were snorting cocaine out of Jay's butt crack. I was like an angry video game nerd. He was naked.
I'm stopping you.
You want to get some more cocaine after this one?
He doesn't even have a nose.
On the topic of Arlo and Boogie, remember how Arlo said that he wanted to hug Boogie?
Boogie's gonna be there. I want to give Boogie a hug. I've wanted to give Boogie a hug my whole life. Since I was a baby. Before I even did YouTube, I wanted to give Boogie a hug.
Well, he got the hug, and I got a picture of it, and it was amazing. Also, apparently Boogie was a fan of Arlo, and Arlo didn't even know. So it was really fun watching them talk to each other, like, finding out that they were fans of each other. It was pretty cool witnessing that in person, and Boogie ended up following him on Twitter. And then Boogie wanted a picture of the two of them himself, so Boogie handed me his phone to me, and I was the one who took the picture of Boogie and Arlo, and that's what you see on Twitter. And nobody knew it was me that took the picture, but it was. Let it be known, I took that photo, and it is amazing. I was slightly tempted to say, hey Boogie, make sure you tag me that I took that photo, but I wasn't gonna be all full of myself right there. Also, Arlo got a picture of James, which is also pretty cool. Now back to the subject of that panel. After it ended, everyone left the room, and Arlo kind of stayed and lingered with a couple of fans as well as I did. And one of the fans there asked Arlo if he saw the song of him reacting to the Metroid Prime 4. And I was like, "Oh, that remix?" He's like, "Yeah." And then I mentioned how I knew about every fan-made content of Arlo known, and then somebody next to me was like, "Hey, are you the Arlo fan community?" It's like, "Yes, I am." Finally, someone finally recognized me, and that was at the very, very end of the convention. It was off on a good note. And then the other people around me was like, "Oh, I know you too." And I'm just surrounded by people who know me. The only people in the room know, like, it was pretty cool finding out that there was people who did know me. And then we were after talking a bit, we were like, "Hey, we should meet up, and pretty soon we're going to be doing a video together. We're going to meet up somewhere locally and do something." We're still talking about it, about what we're going to do, but it looks like we have multiple ideas for multiple videos on the way, so please look forward to that. So that was my experience with Retropalooza, and honestly, that was such an amazing experience. I hope Arlo comes to Arlington next year, because man, oh, it was so much fun. But anyways, that was my experience. Also, before I go, I gotta break the barrier of understanding that Arlo is just a puppet and there's a guy behind him. Because I need to mention this one thing. So one of the Retropalooza staff members was trying to take a picture of just Arlo, and then Arlo looks at me and it's kind of like, "Hey, come here." I was like, "Yeah?" It's like, and he says, "I need you to be my third hand." As in, I was controlling his other arm. So he's got his head in his arm, and I was controlling the other arm. So that was ridiculous. And then after the picture, he said, "You have officially puppeteered Arlo." And I was like, oh. And it was such a cool, that's definitely one of the top highlights of meeting Arlo at Retropalooza. It was just so cool. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. I might have rambled here and there, but who knows. See you next week.